Hey everyone, Ravinous here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. And today we are going to start on the new 24-man raid, which is the City of Rabanastre is the beginning of it. And so it starts here in Kagane, right here in the Merchant District with Kaiten here. And if you are a fan of Final Fantasy XII or Final Fantasy Tactics, this is going to be a lot to do with those games. Now, I am less familiar with those because I actually never... 12 is one of those I didn't get very far in. Same with Tactics, but Tactics being... I'm not a big fan of a lot of Tactics games. I mean, I liked where it was going, but I couldn't get all the way through it. But I have inklings here and there, mainly of like the 12 characters. Again, I never finished it as something I need to go back to, but that should not stop us from enjoying this 24-man raid, and let us get right to it. Alright. Again, since it's a 24-man raid, this is going to be a long video. This is going to have... I think I'm going to break this episode up once we get inside. I have an idea. Alright. Welcome, my lord. There is a young maiden here who would speak with you. She looks familiar. Maybe. Miss, the adventurer has arrived. Ah, here he is. The liberator of both Doma and Alamigo in the flesh. I am Lena, Merila. Alright, correspondent of the Raven. Okay, that's why I recognize the outfit, as the Raven is a magazine in Eurasia. You may recognize me from my expose on the secret lives of the homunculi. Don't you know you in particular, but I heard of the magazine. Is there a problem? Mija, that would be my sister. Right. People mistake us all the time. Same profession, you see, and we do bear a passing resemblance. When last I heard, she was assigned to the Botanist Guild in Gridania, the poor thing. That's right, she was part of the Botanist questline in the from 15 to 60. But that was their sister. I knew I recognized her. But enough small talk. It's not for nothing that I've been standing here since yesterday morning on the off chance you'd pass by. And what do you want? No, I'm here because... Actually, it's best if you heard from Alma. I am but an observer. Alma, come here, I found him! Well, that outfit doesn't fit in here or in Eurasia. Is this an adventurer of whom you spoke? And she's shorter than a Makote girl? That's interesting. Indeed it is. Hopefully, she a girl? Okay, that's why. She's not fully grown. Alright. Please, I beg of you, find my father. You are his only hope. I knew it was odd that Miss Makote are the second shortest race, so... It's alright, Alma. We are attracting unwanted attention. Might I suggest a change of venue? We will await you before the Prima Vista, the theater barge that has a berth at the airship landing. She's an adolescent. I thought it was going to be because they were going to say because she's from a distant land or something that she's not like any of the other human races around here. That would have also been interesting. But hey, she's a teenager, so that'll work too. So instead of going to the airship landing, and I went a little too far. But I'm guessing that's where we're headed. I guess so. Walking over here probably would have been faster, maybe. I don't know. There we go. As I said before, I think it better we continue this conversation in the privacy of the young lady's barge. It is not that I don't trust anyone here, it's simply that I don't trust anyone here. Gigard Minagumo has been instructed to look out for you. In the future, speak with him when you're ready to gain admission to the docks. Like I already was. I guess going forward. Alright. You should speak with Lady Lena. Okay. Thank you for coming, Ravinous. You're probably wondering why I summoned you to an airship, and a Garlean one at that. Allow me to explain on the shuttle. Alright. I'm being swept away farther and farther onto that airship before I even know what's going on. Well, if any problems arise, I could, if the game would let me jump off of the airship and into the ocean and swim, but that's not a problem for me. Blessing of the oceans. And wow. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Interesting. I'm going to take a look around before I continue on. Don't be shy. You have nothing to fear from us. Well, most of us. Alright. I have no words for you, stranger. Not now. I'm practicing my lines in my head. I'm about to say, I don't hear you talking. I see you dancing. Okay, so it's a flying theater. Okay. Welcome to the Prima Vista, the most luxurious theater barge in the land. The Prima Vista serves as both stage and home to the majestic Imperial Theater Company. Okay. You keep that dirk in your drawers. No one here is a member of the Imperial Army, and nor are there any spies within the troop. At least, no known spies. Ask anyone, and they will readily attest. The majestic Imperial Theater Company are the finest practitioners of the dramatic arts to be found anywhere in the 3 great continents and beyond. They have admirers throughout the Empire and its territories, and even boast a sizable following in Gridania. Hence my assignment to their story. It is a little-known fact that outside Garlemald, at least, that the late Emperor was a devoted patron of the arts who supported various theater troupes to the tune of much coin. Indeed, Solus was enamored of the majestic players that he was so enamored with the majestic players that he ordered the construction of this very airship that the troupe might perform in every corner of the Empire. When his grandson took the throne, however, everything changed. Now all theater troupes, domestic or foreign, must submit their works for approval by the Central Imperial Board of Censors. If a play is deemed too vulgar or inflammatory, it is banned, the troupe denied their writs of transit. The worst offenders, well, they're never heard from again. Sorry. This policy has effectively left playwrights with one of two options: compromise their creative integrity to curry favor with his radiance, or put down their quills altogether. The principal of the Majestic, however, chose a third option: to express his disapproval for the Emperor's policies obliquely in obstinately unpolitical works. Pray forgive me for my earlier outburst. I am Alma Bas Lexentel, daughter of Principal Jomius San Lexentel. Mayhap you've heard of my father's latest play, the Zodiac Brave story? On the surface is an innocent tale of a well-known retelling of a well-known Garlean fairy tale, hardly worth of the censor's attention. But beneath it is something quite different. In fact, the censors failed to spot when they approved the manuscript for public performance, and I reenacted the Zodiac Braves back in Realm Reborn in order to make my Zodiac weapon. The play quickly became a huge success. The common folk loved its fantastical story, while they learned while the learned classes appreciated for its true message. By the time the Imperial Board of Censors realized their mistake, it was too late. No longer in a position to prohibit the performance outright without admitting fault, they took aim at the company's purse strings instead. Before long, noble patrons began to withdraw their support, fearing to be associated with the troupe. And by the end, even the learned felt compelled to feign ignorance. By bleeding the Majestic of their funding, the censors robbed them of their voice. And none of this has made it any clearer as to why you're here. Right. Allow me, Lena. Sid! Man, you're all over the place in Stormblood, aren't you? Well, you are my expert on the Empire. I've known Genobus since we were students at the Magitech Academy. When I heard his daughter was in Kugane looking to enlist the aid of an adventurer, I felt compelled to give her your name. Sorry for not announcing myself sooner, old friend. Well, you're in both major raids this expansion. Huh. Denormus and I were from different worlds, but that only served to fuel our friendship. Many were the nights where we prattle on to the wee small hours, warm flagons of peanut ale, numbing our minds to the others' naive ideologies. Yet, no matter where our conversation began, it would invariably end with him telling me how he was going to change the Empire from the inside out. The truth was to be his path to the people's hearts. Even after the Empire forced him from his home, Genobus never gave up hope that his work might change the world. Art will never strain against artificial bounds and borders, man-made walls and misguided wars. It is in such times of uncertainty that we must needs embrace our calling and take to the skies so that others might do the same. What I'm trying to say, rather poorly, I concede, and I'm reading it poorly, is that not all Garleans are hewn from the same stone. Just as there are those who pledge their lives to the Empire and would never think to question the authority of its leaders, there are those like Alma's father and myself whose love for their country does not bind them to its flaws, or blind them to its flaws. That. Still, try selling a sack of sunflower to an Alamegan or Doman who has watched his family. Still, try selling that sack of sunflower to an Alamegan or Doman who has watched his family consumed in the flames of a Magitech Reaper. How many arisen adventurers do you think would leap at the opportunity to help an Imperial search for her missing father, and in Garlean territory, no less? But you're different. You have seen enough to know that know the line between good and evil is not defined by race, color, or creed. So what say you? Let's see. I'd make a poor adventurer if I would try to say adventure. I would never turn my back on a damsel in distress. Okay, I have to go with the first one on that one. First one in the options. Second one I read. Damsel in distress. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'd be a jerk if I said no. Now that you understand the nature of the task, perhaps Alma would provide some insight as to where we might begin our search. Shortly before my father disappeared, he began work on his next play, a successor to the Zodiac Brave story. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Please follow me. Again, we're moving location. But I'm going to be breaking this up into episodes. What I will do is I'll have story, then once we are inside the raid, up to the first boss, and then each one will end after defeating a boss. I may not be able to give you a proper end because it's going to be a rush recording because of other people. But other than a multi-hour video, I think that'd probably be the way to go. Through adventure and hardship, young Deletta, a boy of common blood, becomes a hero, culminating in the birth of a mythical mythical kingdom of Ivalice. Okay, that was what I was trying to say at the beginning. Anyway, we're doing Ivalice. But that is where the story ends. There are no records of anything that follows. Was Principal Ginormous simply going to invent something? My father believed that he had discovered evidence of a second hero, one whose efforts went largely unnoticed, but without whom Deletta would never have risen to the throne. His was the next tale he wanted to tell, the true Zodiac Brave story. A second hero? According to my father's study, this young man was one of Deletta's closest friends and confidants. That is, until the untimely passing of Deletta's sister forced the two to part ways. The yet unnamed hero continued to provide aid to his friend by thwarting the machinations of those who would scheme against Deletta, thus paving the way for the paupers to rise to regent. You must forgive me, but I've never heard anyone make such claims. How exactly did your father come by this information? That is a long story. One which begins and ends with Ginormous becoming lost in the very legend he sought to lay bare. Even as far back as our academy days, Ivalice had Ginormous firmly in his grasp. He flatly refused to believe the story was just a fairy tale. And so when he was finally driven out of Garlemald, it was only natural that he would choose this of all places as his refuge. Was it not, Alma? That is correct, Master Garland. It has long been my father's belief that the ruins of ancient Ivalice lay behind Nangsha, buried beneath the sands of the Dalmatian desert. Poor Dalmatia. The kingdom prospered in relative isolation for countless generations until the Empire came calling. When not touring, my father would organize expeditions into Dalmatia's desert to search for proof of Ivalice's existence. Sometimes he would bring back strange artifacts, ancient tomes, and crystals unlike any others. Yeah, that's different. My father called them Oricite, and claimed that they were vital to proving his theories. This is one such crystal. By the 12 is magnificent. Ivalice, Ivalician legend tells of crystals bequeathed by the gods unto those who would be kings. It is during his quest to gather Orosite that young Deletta rises to prominence. I must have heard the tale thousands of times from my nursemaid, but that is all I ever was, a tale. My father would often tell us how Orosite spoke to him. At the time, we assumed he was speaking figuratively, that the stone's beauty roused his muse. But then he began to act strangely. How so? Following our arrival here in Higashi, my father spent most of his time cloistered in his chambers, poring over his past research. And though he was alone, we would often hear him in conversation. It was not uncommon for my father to recite lines as he wrote them, but it soon became clear that this was something else. It was as if he was talking to my mother who had passed several winters gone. Might this not have been out of mere loneliness, or perhaps the strain of your flight from Garlemald? Possibly, but that would not explain the voices which answered him. What now? Alma, who are these people? I told you I did not require any help finding father, especially from outsiders. It is so good of you to join us, Ramza. Yep. Allow me to introduce. Enough, Master Sid. We may be shunned by the Empire, but we are still Garleans, and we still have our pride. Unlike some, it seems, we require neither the aid nor the pity of foreign rabble. Have you forgotten where you are, brother? It is we who are foreign rabble. This land and its customs are all but unknown to us. We would be fools to conduct our search without a proven guide. Your sister is right, Ramza. As for my good friend here, your mistrust is ill-placed. I will personally vouch for his character. And all the time I have known him, he has never once let anything as insignificant as race or creed color his judgment. You are lucky to have him. But we would have you, Master Garland. Why do you refuse us? He's not a fighter. You would know why. Until this affair with Omega is resolved, my hands are tied. It pains me to refuse you and your sister, but it pains me far more to leave Genoma's fate to his fate. I am sorry. You need not apologize. I let my emotions get the better of me. After what happened in Rabanastre, it may be time we admit we are out of our depth. My brother's last expedition met with tragedy in the ruins of the capital city. He barely escaped with his life. The Empire turned Rabanastre into a death trap. You were a fool to set foot there without a proper escort. I realize that now, Master Garland, but at the time I saw an opportunity to rescue our father, and I took it. Whatever led you to believe your father was in Damascus' capital? My father's fascination with the Ivalice legend began with a trip to the Antediluvian city long before the war. Call it a premonition, but something tells me that this is where he has returned. Now, you must excuse me, I need some time to think. Then, Alma, I shall leave you and your brother in Ravinous' capable hands. He has ever repaid my trust with interest. You would do well to grant him yours. Thank you, Master Garland. We will not forget this kindness. Interesting that he's too busy with Omega, but I'm also, well, he's doing the busy between the raids, so... If there are people to be punching, I'm here. Anybody else to talk to? Let's talk to these people real quick. Sid didn't bid me farewell. This is going in my write-up. Oh, how I miss my father. Alright. Talk to Ramza. Master Garland seems to think highly of you, so I will withhold judgment until after Demacia. Alright. And we get music when I complete it. Alright. Protagonist theme organ. And then the background story. Okay. So, in other words, a remix of the music they're going to be putting into here. Demacia is nestled in a forgotten corner of the Empire's outermost territories. I do not foresee any trouble from the standing army, but would suggest committing to memory the locations of each of the barge's exits, just in case. As for the flight itself, the currents above Demacia are as wild as the lands below. You may want to hold on. Okay, take us there, Captain. Helmsman, sorry. I know the difference. The captain isn't necessarily the one at the helm. The helmsman is. Unless you got a hands-on captain, then they will be the helmsman too. It's a different job. Off we go! I like how it looks like there's a coliseum sitting on the top of the airship. Seems like it's a pretty smooth ride, given the warning about the currents. We'll complete our descent to Ravinous in the shuttle. Yeah, I bet it's a pain to have this huge thing land and take off. I would try to keep it in the air as much as possible. You're not going to be able to do anything. Stay here. Ramza. I thought I made myself clear, Alma. The capital is too dangerous. Father would never forgive me if I were to lose you trying to rescue him. You are not trained for this. I don't know how trained these other two are, but she's definitely not trained. Come, we are wasting time. Well, Ramza was put on the expedition, so I guess it works out that he's with us. A reporter's a reporter. They're going to go where they are. We know from Superman stories that reporters go wherever they want. Question marks. The Royal City of Rabanastre. Probably is pronounced Rabanastre. Aside from, you know, the smoke and random things jutting out, it's a pretty place. I see damage here and there. According to my father, Ravinous was already a thriving city some 1,000 years ago. But after performing several private excavations beneath the so-called Desert Sapphire, my father came to the conclusion that it was not the first settlement to stand here. Then your father believes that Rabanastre sits on top of the royal city of Lysalia, the capital of Ivalice? But if that's true, it would change history. We would be famous. Famous? Are you sure you don't mean rich? Ha! You're kind of all alike. Parasites grown fat on the sweat and suffering of others. Bold words for a boy of but 16 summers. And what, pray tell, have I done to deserve such spite? I only wish to learn the truth behind the disappearance of the Empire's foremost playwright. If that should lead to something bigger, well then, I would be a worse reporter. I'd be the worst reporter in the realm if I did not pursue it. What caught your attention, Ravinous? Yes. We can argue about this now, or we can return to the Prima Vista and report. We can argue about this now, or we can return to the Prima Vista and report to our army of adventurers that it's time to begin our expedition. I humbly request the latter. Ah, so that's how they're tying in the 23 other players to this. The army of adventurers. My enemy's bad right now. The lighting changed during this recording. Hi. You see, it is as I said, brother. Let them come to us. Should we kill them now? No, the time is not right. And that's your mistake. When has that stopped us before? Fool, did you not see that one? Slayer of gods, they call him. Warrior of light. True, if the four of you went after me now, I'd wreck you. Presumably. Alright. City unlocked. Available in the Duty Finder. And we are also at the end of this episode. So, as I said previously, we'll knock this out into multiple parts. And so, the next episode, we are going inside and we're going to take out the first boss. So, if you enjoyed this, give it a like. Any thoughts, comments down below. If you haven't subscribed, click on my beautiful face. If you like supporting these videos, check out my Patreon. And thank you for watching. Until next time, later.